What's up guys, this is Shona and today we're going to check out Twinpines at Tropicana Grandhill, Genting Highlands. Let's go! Hey guys, so now we are at Genting Premium Outlet, where it has been that next shopping destination for folks who wants to somewhat experience that cold climate in a very casual manner. And judging based on the car park base, this is usually packed during weekends. And this is another 15 to 20 minutes away from the top, which is Skyworld theme park. And when that opens, oh my, woo! Then connecting to the premium outlet, walking opposite, right, you will have the Awana Sky Central. Actually, there's two ways to go up right to the tippy top of Genting Highland. One is to drive up, the other one which is to sit cable car, like always people say, oh, it's a cable car, it's a cable car. This is where you sit. We are now at Gotong Jaya, and just when everybody thinks, right, that Genting is really serene and quiet, well, that applies to certain parts of Kempas area, certain parts of the hilltop. But when this is concerned, it's super jam-packed during weekends. And the weirdest thing is we used to come here and eat seafood. We come to Genting and eat seafood, which is weird. And because of the climate, it makes a lot of sense to eat really hot stuff like steamboats, and everybody get to dress up really cool. You can put on several layers of jacket to really look super dope. But what you can see right now, right, all those are sand trucks, as there are just a lot of earthworks being carried out. And it's really exciting to see this highland being developed so rapidly. But I am just very concerned on the restricting factor, which is the infrastructure like electricity, water, sewerage, roads. Those are very difficult to be expanded, but projects wise, it's really coming up very strong. As we speak, there's another one. What we can see right here are the restaurants, the hotels, the souvenir stores. And this is where all the locals dine in as well. So because of its climate, this location has been that favourite, especially for families in Klang Valley. But just when everyone thinks that because it's cool, it will be quiet, not really though. So now we are in Genting Permai, and this is one of the gathering spots for all motorheads, people who like racing, they love cars, they love bikes and whatsoever, right? This is that real pit stop. And it was only 4 to 5 years ago, right, that this location somewhat exploded in terms of project, where there's just crazy amount of new buildings coming up, all trying to leverage on the tourism sector. Every weekend, this location is just jam-packed with people and tourists for different reasons. Again, for racing, for escapes, for the theme park, for gatherings, for team buildings, and etc. Therefore, what you can see around Genting right now, the commercial activities are really sophisticated. A lot of F&B, a lot of hotels. It's just mesmerizing. Just to get our coordinates right, from KL, if we are just heading upwards all the way to Resort World Genting, which is that Gotong Jaya, the Genting Permai that we went just now. And this is where the sales gallery is. Tropicana Grandhill is then located closer to KL in comparison to Resort World Genting. And Tropicana Grandhill is just this 112 acres of freehold development that consists of several phases. So they divided into 3 phases, and in those phases they are residence, education, commercial. Phase 2 recreational park, Silver Hair Village is rather interesting, and then they have still the future development, where it depends on how the trend is moving and how the market is receptive of their products. And one of the very first projects to kickstart this entire township would be Twinpines. So in comparison to whatever development that we see in Genting Permai, right, all the developments are in this individual plot kind of setting, where they just build one project and that's about it. Build one project and that's about it. And when you think that you are going to develop around 100 over acres in a highland setting, which is just challenging in terms of logistics, engineering, infrastructure, human resources and etc. It's just way beyond my expectation. And this will be Twinpines, their very first project of the entire township development. In total, there will be 1443 number of units, and I'm just very concerned looking at the way and how they construct the roads. It includes the car park, building itself, and imagine such a high tower. But then to think about why they are taking such risks in developing such structures, because the demand for the area is really evident. The number of tourists every weekend, right, can really just justify the return pretty easily. And when you balance that number against the existing number of hotels around Genting itself, it's insufficient. The demand is way more than supply. Therefore, you can see all residents around Genting itself are converted into that homestay setting. And for Twinpines itself, it's going to be the same game. And how do they justify the returns is by using the rental per day versus how many days the room is being rented out, and compare that against your installment, right? It makes a lot of sense. So as the design team is preparing this to be somewhat be operated as an homestay slash hotel kind of function, the facilities are all done in that manner as well, where there will be this pathway that allows buses to stop without creating congestions to the traffic. Then all car parks belongs to the management instead of accessorized into the ownership of different buyers. So that allows visitors to park as they wish, and they pay hourly or daily during their stay here. So the usage is just more practical in that arrangement. And of course, you still have your grand drop-off, your gym and restaurants at the end. And at the back would be the facility deck, and it's exposed to nature. I could almost imagine the view that I will get by locating in a high-rise on the hill. And looking at their rendering that they prepared, right, this is Twinpines, which is phase number 1. Opposite, you have the international school and you have the medical hub somewhat integrated, and this is their strategy to somewhat leverage on the medical tourism side as well, where people can come here and get treatments and then they rest in the same building itself, enjoying nature, the fresh air, the cold temperature. At the same time, such lifestyle works really well for the silver hair community, where I don't have to really go to office anymore. Maybe just drop by KL once a week kind of setting. It makes sense for them to just live here. The project is divided into Tower A and Tower B. Both of them shares the same facility deck, and there are just number of facilities in abundance. However, if you look into the floor plan layout, it's pretty similar to a hotel setting where this is just efficiency at its best. So for Tower A, we have 15 units per floor, and Tower B, we have 12 units per floor. So the units here are just bigger, which caters to different functions. But the good thing is there will be 8 passenger lifts serving all units, plus a service lift at the core. And the unit we're going to check out today will be type A1, and the build is around 400 square feet. And the main reason why they turn that into square meters, right, because there will be a lot of foreign buyers for projects like this as well. So the layout is pretty direct. Once you come in, there'll be your kitchen, living, master bedroom, your window and your bathroom. Ta-da! Exactly like a hotel suite. So from the corridor, there will be a slight foyer here, and this will immediately be your door. The opening is around a meter, and when you open in the door, most likely will be this way. This is it. And all units for this project comes with the fully furnished package, and there's a clear intention to that. This is to somewhat regulate or to standardize all unit types, and it's just easier for the appointed property managers in the future, which they have plans to do as well. So they will be collaborating with a property management company that is going to provide services just in case owners want to run this as a short-term stay, but they just do not have the capability to operate this. So there will be several arrangements in terms of business model. So those are all thought through by the developer during the design stage as well. Plus, it's just easier as well for owners, because if you were to get contractors to come up all the way here to Genting to furnish 1,000 over units, right? Generally, the first year of VP will just be packed with contractors, and it's not going to be a pleasant experience after all. So I really like the width from wall to wall is around 2 meters. And after you have the washer, the fridge, the pantry, the cool and hob, the kitchen cabinet all together, right, you still have a very luxurious corridor, and that connects you to the bathroom itself. So as there's only one bathroom in the unit, sometimes when one person or one user of the unit hoards the bathroom too long, a partition like this that separates out the shower and the WC makes a lot of sense. So 3 persons can use this space at the same time, where one shower, one doing his business, and one brushes his teeth. Anyway, there will be full height wall tiles, a full giant size mirror extended all the way from edge to edge, and you have this counter here for you to put your toiletries, basin by American standard. Wow! And the same for WC and the shower. There will be a mechanical ventilation here because there's no window, and the glasses of course will be frosted. And coming out from the bathroom, then this is rather direct already. We have the window at the edge connecting you to the view of your choice, king size bed, and you can still have a lot of space. So the wall to wall distance is around 4 meters, and matching that with the 3 meter ceiling height, this space is just very comfortable for a studio unit. So just imagine, right, this is like a plus size hotel suite, but they somewhat compromise the dining area. You have your wardrobe here, your TV cabinet here, and you can still see so much space, right? Then they have a small tea table here, which I think it makes sense because ultimately, how many people is going to stay here? Most likely 2. But I like the design of the day bed because ultimately the hero space should be this area where that connects you to the sceneries, and I like the window level actually matches the level to the user itself. And the price for a freehold unit like this is going around 800 to 1,000 per square foot, which indirectly means this unit is around 3 to 400,000. That's really within the affordability range of the youngsters, and if they're getting some investment unit, right, the calculation of the day rate versus the installment is really convincing. But coming to the topic of turning point, right, before COVID, this was a tourism hotspot. It's almost impossible to get a room during festive seasons or long holidays, for example Christmas or Chinese New Year, right? But unfortunately, the lockdown demonstrated the ugly side of investment profiles like this. Let's face it, there won't be so many locals who are going to stay in Genting all the time, and the design of all the high-rises here reflected the usage of it, which is for temporary homestay. So when tourism goes to zero, returns of such projects also goes to zero. Well, not only tourism oriented projects were affected, student accommodation type of properties are also affected. So it was a really terrible year for them during the lockdown. But once the travel ban was lifted, this location instantly came to life. And a lot of my friends, just from Gombak itself, looking at the traffic going upwards to Genting, right, they already decided to U-turn back because it's almost impossible to reach the tippy top of Genting due to the number of cars on the road. So as wonderful as the numbers can be, as wonderful as the scenery can be, right, it's very important to be mindful on the risk of the other side of the story. And I think that's all for the unit. It's rather direct, it's very simple, very spacious, and this developer has done high-rises all the time in KL, right? So this is not foreign to them at all. But what I'm more interested in would be the site itself. Let's go. Now we are right in front of the site, and the building will be right on top. If your dream home is to really live within the clouds, enjoy that cool climate, and have serenity and peace and quiet, right, this is pretty close to it. But there are some limitations to this, which means if you are coming back from Genting Highland, In order to go to site, there will be a U-turn in front that you need to make before you can come, and that can be slightly troublesome, but that's due to the limitation of the infrastructure. But if you talk about Highland infrastructure, right, Genting Highlands infrastructures in terms of road system, electric utilities, street lamps and etc., those are done really well. And from the entrance itself, you go up, then there will be a turn heading upwards to Twinpines. And thinking of Twinpines being the very first project there, right, the scenery that it gets to enjoy on this site, it's incredible. And as we drove around the site, apparently this seems to be that next address to really boom, because in accordance to the team, every weekend now the sales gallery is packed. Their confidence level has just peaked right after the lockdown, so they are pretty confident when the vaccination happened. Then at the same time, we can easily count a lot of other players are within the area as well, building their own development. Who would ever thought Genting will be the next township master plan, right? Wow. And now we are back to Genting Highlands Premier Outlet, so just see the crowd. I think that's all for this visit. It's now time for Sean take 3 on 3. The 3 things I really like: number 1, definitely the environment of the location. Fresh air, the cold temperature, the serenity, and the distance to nature that is just so close and intimate. Those qualities just makes this location a perfect getaway for the weekends. And on top of that, there's just a lot of reasons why people want to come up. Number 1 would be the casino, of course. Then there's the new Skyworld theme park that's anticipated to be that mega hit. Then you have the Genting Highlands Premier Outlet for shopping experience. You have the farms, the strawberry farms, the vegetable farms, the bee farm, the seafood, and etc. Plus, it's only around 40 minutes drive away from KL City. Therefore, the demand for short-term stay around this location has been crazy throughout the years, therefore resulting in a lot of new buildings being built. And it was only a year ago when I still remember I hang out with my friends here, thinking that it will be such a peaceful and quiet getaway. I was wrong. The curvy mountain climbs, right, is just perfect for people to test out their machine. So a lot of moto enthusiasts are just going to gather here during the weekend. Again, all those reasons are just catalysts on why this location is so successful, which is point number 2. Point number 3 would be the township development of this particular project. As we can see the developments around, right, it has always been a single tower or a single project that's located in a pocket land. And in contrast to that, this developer is taking up 112 acres, where it's a combination of all different functions. It's as if they are trying to build a local community here, a community that's going to reside here long term. May it be for medical recovery reasons, may it be for silver hair, maybe for families where the husband just needs to go KL once a week. So for the rest of the week, they can really enjoy the lifestyle here despite the challenges, because with such topography that's so steep, engineering work is going to be very challenging. The infrastructure works are going to be challenging, and it's just going to be very challenging to contain the crowds, especially during the weekends. And that's point number 1 for the 3 things that I don't like. I really do think that infrastructure is the main limitation for this location itself. But if you compare several highlands in Malaysia, right, I personally think that Genting Highland has the best infrastructure compared to all already. In terms of road, drainage, street lighting, the security and etc. It's all really well done, to the extent where it becomes a destination where people come and test their cars. But I'm just not too sure whether the existing infrastructure can cater these new mega developments that's coming up lah. And if these townships really do well, it's going to have another different problem where can these roads serve the population or not, because as existing population rises, right, the roads is a 2-lane in, 2-lane out. I don't know. Then the second thing I don't like would be the investment oriented typology of this product. So the condos in this area are mainly divided into 2 types. One is really a pure apartments where you really get to stay in and enjoy. If budget permits, right, this can really be your weekend getaway house. The other type would be hotel type. Just because if you look into the supply and demand, the existing hotels in Genting Highlands cannot cater to the demand. There's just so many people during the weekends, therefore the room rates are really good, resulting in such products being developed. So this particular project is really an investment-oriented project. It's not so much an own stay, so if I were to stay in the weekends, right, there will be just a lot of buses, a lot of people using the lifts and etc. Yeah. So if you're in for the numbers, if you're in for the investments, it makes total sense. But if you're really looking for a place to retire in or whatsoever, right, it's not for me. And the last part would also be the township development portion, as this is the first product within that mega township, right? After the completion of the project, you will need to go through the development of the entire remaining area of the township. So for the remaining blocks in the future phases, if they are developing, right, they are under construction, guess which road they will use? Definitely the road in front of you. So that will result in a lot of dust, a lot of noise. But of course, being the first phase, the price is really attractive. And I think that's all for this episode. So what really caught my attention is I didn't expect this location to be that next upcoming address for development. Just by touring around, right, and flying the drone around, you can see a lot of land being cleared, and the areas are not small. It's not for one tower only. So this phenomenon represents two things. There's just huge demand around this location, therefore resulting in a lot of big players coming into the property scene in this area. But I'm just not too sure in 5 to 10 years time, really got so many people, man. But all the earlier phases before COVID, all were sold out. So I really do think that the pandemic is a good thing, as it teaches us the risk of such investments. So be mindful when we invest, and I think that's all for this episode. Thank you very much for the team for showing me around. This is excellent. So what a learning curve for all of us. If you really like this episode, like it, share it, and even subscribe for more information like this. Until next time, this is Sean Tan. Ciao.